Good morning, everyone, and a very warm welcome to all of you joining us. Thank you for taking the time to be a part of this webinar hosted by ANA Associate. We truly appreciate your presence here. While we understand that today's business environment comes with constant change and uncertainty, which is why today's webinar, Navigating Your Business Through Uncertain Times, is designed to help businesses gain clarity, direction, and practical strategies that can be applied immediately to help you move forward with confidence. Also, ANA Associate is offering a free 30-minute consultation for all attendees. You can claim it by simply scanning the QR code on your screen. Let me quickly walk you through today's agenda. We will be covering three key pillars: grow, protect, and support. After the speakers' sessions, we will move into a live Q&A session where you will have the opportunity to ask questions and get insights directly from our speakers. Let's begin with our first speaker. I would like to welcome Mr. Shubhang Bhattacharya, Director of Mosaic Digital, who will be sharing insights on smarter marketing in uncertain times. Shubhang, over to you.
A very good morning to everyone who has found the time to join in for today's webinar. My name is Shubhang Bhattacharya, and I will be taking you through smarter marketing in uncertain times. Now, let's start. Uh, we're talking about navigating businesses through challenging times. Let us understand first what those challenging times really are. You may be seeing this in a lot of places, especially with the international media. Headlines such as Dubai is finished, the shine has been taken off, uh, war shockwaves rock Dubai tourism, it's over for Dubai. Now, these kind of narratives are playing not only for us, but they're also playing for your respective customers. They're playing for anyone who's interacting with your business. This is always there at the back of your mind. So this is the overall narrative that we are pushing back against, and we need to understand how to change this narrative. Now, in the uh, while we're challenging narratives, we have to understand what our priorities are first. So I will take you through details on what type of content you can do, what type of marketing you can do. But the main thing is we want to understand what to do and not to do on an immediate basis. So your priorities right now: don't engage in toxic positivity. We're monitoring a lot of campaigns where people are coming out and saying nothing has happened. Absolutely nothing has happened. It's all fine. Everything is chill. This kind of insults the intellect of your customer. The narrative now should be that yes, there are challenges being faced, and how can we counter this narrative, and UAE will rise out of this challenge the way it has during the financial crisis, the way it has after the floods, the way it has after COVID. So the narrative surrounding this should not be toxic positivity where you completely disregard the entire situation. The second thing I need you to keep in mind is that this is a very evolving situation. Every day something changes. This is a kind of situation where everyone's watching Twitter and social media channels to get their geopolitical news, and this is happening on a real time basis. So whatever you do, time is more important than perfection, because when things change on a day-to-day basis, you don't have the luxury of time to curate a marketing campaign for an entire month, because in a span of an entire month things go from Armageddon to everything's okay very quickly. So whenever you're curating your campaigns, keep one thing in mind, that time is more important than getting your campaigns perfect. Thirdly, do a fact versus perception audit. We've seen a lot of either rumors or people saying things in the market. Oh, the XYZ company has moved out of Dubai. The UAE is considering these kind of measures. There are a lot of things that are floating around which are not necessarily true. It is very important for you yourself, and secondly for your audience, to bust these narratives. So do a fact versus perception audit. You might be seeing a lot of content on social media where people are saying that, oh, this is the headline that we saw on the Daily Mail, for example, or Times Now, but this is the reality. This helps customers understand that you are in touch with what's actually going on in the UAE. And because you are the gatekeepers of the information of everything that is going on, it is very important for you to consistently bust narratives and do a fact versus perception audit, both internally by assuring your customers, by assuring your staff even on what's going on, and to your customers as well. Uh, the last one is a buffer zone strategy. I really like this strategy because right now there is a property of correlation when it comes to marketing. Because your companies are based in the UAE, any news affecting UAE therefore directly correlates to your business. For example, Mosaic Digital Marketing is an agency based in the UAE. The UAE is going through a crisis, therefore, Mosaic Digital also must be going through a crisis. That is a direct correlation that impacts people's opinions about your business. Now, how do you counter this? Use a buffer zone strategy. Simple content about, okay, your operations are normal, featuring your clients, talking about your partnerships. These kind of narratives keep you away from what everyone's talking about. So when somebody is seeing that, oh, your client is giving a testimonial, they're not making that correlation with UAE crisis. You distance yourself from the main narrative that is going on right now. So the buffer zone strategy is very important in kind of distancing yourself from any negative PR or these curated campaigns against the UAE. It distances yourself from that. Next, please. Um, During crisis, and I said this during my promotion reel as well. A lot of people, what they do is whenever any crisis hits, marketing stops immediately. Right, your budgets are the first thing to get affected. This is a quote by Henry Ford that I really like and have used it personally a lot of times. To stop marketing to save money is to stop a clock to save time. What we mean by this is people associate marketing with spending. That is not necessarily the case. You do not need to spend a fortune on different marketing campaigns all the time. You may do marketing which doesn't affect your cost. But at the same time, if you're having a budget or if you're doing marketing through paid channels, don't immediately stop. Don't panic stop. Right now, we are going into summers, Eid al Adha is coming up. There are a lot of opportunities for you to stay relevant. So don't stop your marketing budgets, and don't you can repurpose them. I'll take you through how you can do that. Uh, the first thing is, what do we want to say? To make this easy for you, I'll give you a strategy called the pathos, ethos, logos strategy. What does that mean? Pathos is content that deals with emotion. It does not seek to close a client or do a sale or get leads. It is purely based on emotion. Sharjeel, one of our upcoming panelists, has done a beautiful video with us on how the UAE has bounced back every time it has been hit with a crisis. How you cannot write the UAE off. So these kind of messaging, it's to instigate an emotional response, not necessarily, oh, this is my product and this is what we're doing an offer. You need to sometimes go beyond just the business side of things and initiate an emotion response from your client. First Abu Dhabi Bank is doing a campaign with the first responders. So with this, they're not hoping to get customers. They're just trying to play into that whole emotional narrative of the UAE is going to bounce back and we are supporting the UAE's frontline heroes. Next is ethos. Not, if I was to tell you that, okay, if I was to speak about Mosaic Digital Marketing, of course, I will say the nicest of things. But I work with Mosaic. It is in my best interest to tell you about Mosaic and everything is fine. But what really adds credibility is when other people not associated necessarily with Mosaic tell you about Mosaic, right? So influencer strategies are circle around this, that, oh, I say that I'm from your company. Are other people saying the same? ADNOC is doing a great campaign about UAE is my home, where they're featuring people to talk about the UAE. So this is not the leadership talking, this is not the company talking. This is just regular day to day people talking about their experience being in the UAE. So sometimes how you can use this with your respective companies is, sometimes it's good to have clients, sometimes it's good to have partners, sometimes it's good to have just regular people talk about what you do, because that adds credibility to your brand, and that is very important. Last one is logos. And I have realized that the UAE real estate marketing is really leaning into this. As you see these articles below, you see that, oh, this is the volume of transactions that UAE has done. Despite the crisis, these many transactions are going on. Each time there is a sale which is valued at a certain amount, they are able to market it. Why? Because this is logic. They're not trying to tell you that, oh, everything is fine. They're just presenting straightforward facts with you. If you're able to present numbers and facts that support your argument, saying that, okay, my company is in a particular space, this is what we're offering, these are the number of companies we have, this is how many companies we've helped during this time, these kind of numbers speak way more than a direct marketing pitch saying that, oh, this is my product, please buy it. So that's very important. Now we go into how to say it. And this is really the crux of what I want to leave you with here today. If you look at the diagram to your right, like I was saying before, marketing is not just paid marketing. Paid marketing is just one of the spheres of your marketing. You have three things: you have paid media, you have earned media, and owned media. Owned media is everything that your business already owns. You have your website, you have your blogs, you have your social media channels. This costs you nothing because you already own it. These are assets of your company. Then you have earned media. Earned media is user generated content, is what other people are saying about you, what partners are saying about you, the engagement and the shares that you get on social media. This is something that you are earning because your marketing is performing to a certain level. So owned and earned media help you a long way when you're cutting budgets. Paid media is obviously, as the name suggests, what you pay for. Now, in paid media, you are advertising for all the products that you are currently offering to your clients. But right now, you can capitalize on earned and owned by saving money and use paid media on only the things that you know will work for your business. Right now, you need to analyze that realistically, what type of products are people even going to buy from you. So if I have a wide range of products right now, what is my priority for the time being? So if you're running paid campaigns for, let's say, five things, but you know that right now only two things are really relevant in today's market, then you focus your attention from paid media to those channels. Don't completely stop any of this, because as you can see from this diagram, everything works in tandem. Your paid media contributes to your earned media, which contributes to your owned media. Only when people talk about you online, earned media, does your SEO get boosted and your website gets strengthened, owned media. And paid media helps send more people to your social channels, which is your paid media. When these three things work well, that is your ideal place where you want to be in terms of marketing. One more thing that I have found, not only with the clients that we work with, but also what people are doing with other brands, that is really working. Nissan did a campaign. This is Arabian Automobiles. They did a database campaign, which is basically WhatsApp marketing. WhatsApp marketing, email marketing, these are cost effective things and work way better than you may imagine right now. Your database is your gold mine. These are people who've already interacted with you. Your clients are the one who are probably you can upsell to. Your clients are the one who are going to refer you to other clients. And your database, even the people who have not bought from you, even the people who have not engaged with you, if they have done so in the past, these are the people who are your biggest asset right now. Try email marketing, try database marketing, try SMS marketing, try WhatsApp marketing. Trust me, from my personal experiences with the brands that I work with, as well as with other brands in the market right now, we are seeing great results for people who are running WhatsApp campaigns. In fact, Kavak, I have bought a car from Kavak. I'm constantly getting WhatsApp messages from Kavak saying, "Oh, do you want to sell your car back to us?" And each time I see the WhatsApp message, I go like, maybe will I get a good deal in this market? So it invokes curiosity. uh, Consistency is very important. Don't vanish for 2 months. There are a lot of brands that have completely gone very low key, thinking that, oh, it's going to be a slow few months. Don't do that. During this time, the brands that really capitalize on their communication and make sure that during this time they have always stayed in touch with their clients, always done something or the other to make sure that marketing is, their marketing, their brand is being seen. That is very important. They will remember it when things get back to normal again. If they don't see you during 2 to 3 months, if your social media is kind of dead, if your website updates are like 2 months old, if your current media is not reflecting the situation, if you're running the same ads that you were running when before this thing happened, that really doesn't help you connect with the audience at the level that you really need. So consistency really is key. So that's a short thing about marketing that I wanted to discuss with you. Now you will go to slightly more, uh, I wouldn't say serious, but slightly more meaty things that will help you understand the various aspects of your financial management as well as asset protection, which is something during the preparation of this webinar I also learned for the first time. Now, there are free consultations that we are doing. So, if any of you would like to know more about how you can capitalize on marketing, some of the things for Mosaic Digital we are doing for free, even. So, you can get in touch with us. We can guide you on what your marketing strategy, what marketing strategy you can do. Uh, we are also offering certain services. You want to do WhatsApp marketing or you want to do something else, we can help you with that. So you can book a consultation session with us, and we can take it from there. With that, it brings me to the end of my session. Thank you all very much for joining. And yeah, I will hand over to the next speaker. Thank you.
In the uncertain times that we're currently in. And just to reiterate what he just mentioned about the consultations that's being offered. Sorry, just to reiterate on the three consultations that we are offering, if you have any further questions regarding marketing or what can be a best support for your business, please drop your questions in the chat section. After the whole session, we'll have a live Q&A where we'll be picking out the certain questions that the experts can answer you. Now we'll move on to our next speaker. We have Mr. Sharji Lakhtar, the managing partner of Momentum, who will be speaking on protecting what you build. Sharji, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Akhil. And a special thanks to ANA for organizing this entire event. It's a it's a very important and holistic conversation that we're having right now. So I'm really glad that Momentum's a part of it. You've just heard from Shabang. He's Mosaic's marketing guru on exactly where you should be spending your money, how you should be spending it. It's all very practical and critical insights. I want to add another layer to that conversation because spending smarter only matters if what you're building actually ends up where you intended to. It goes without saying that it's a tricky time for all of us. We're hopeful but cautious. The UAE, the country that we all live in, has various different fail-safes. But at the same time, we also have a role to play in being responsible. And part of that responsibility lies in having a conversation that most of us just keep putting off. And that is protecting what you have already built and saved. This country is home to over 9 million expats, and most of us, have genuinely no idea what happens to our assets in the event anything happens to us. Bank accounts, company shares, even the guardianship of our children. There is a process that is there in the UAE in place. However, it does not take into account exactly what you had in mind or what it is that you want it to happen when that process is implemented. And that is exactly what I'll be covering today. If I can move on to the next slide, please. So let me give you an example of something that I've seen many times over the course of the many years that we've been doing this. There's someone in the UAE who's been around for 10 years, built a business, has a few employees depending on them, owns an apartment, has savings over maybe 2 or 3 accounts. These are common things that many of you attending today can probably relate to. Either you're a business owner, you're someone that has employees, or you may be operating as a solo entrepreneur. You may have properties to your name. You may be someone that has savings tucked away into a savings account, or maybe everything that I've mentioned applies to you. Regardless, now coming back to the example, the business owner passes away without a will. Day one, every bank account is frozen. All of them. This includes your personal accounts, your business accounts. This is not pending a court order or hearing. It happens immediately, automatically, the moment that the bank is notified. The business partner, if you have one, cannot access the company account to make payroll. Your wife cannot access your joint savings to pay the rent. Your operations manager cannot pay a supplier invoice that is due this week. These are some immediate ramifications as a business owner. The money is there, nobody's stealing it, but it's just fully inaccessible. So what happens next is that this person's family now has to navigate the UAE probate to unlock any of it. This essentially means lawyers, translated documents, court hearings, and it's all in Arabic, in a legal system that they have never interacted with, while simultaneously dealing with everything else that comes with losing someone suddenly. And the outcome, who gets what, how it's split, how the business shares are handled, all of it defaults to Sharia succession laws. And this applies to Muslims and non-Muslims alike. In a country that comprises of 90% expatriates population, unless there is a registered will that you have that says otherwise, this is exactly how it happens. The Sharia has a very specific distribution mechanism on how it applies the distribution of your assets to all of your qualifying heirs. And this may or may not be how you want to handle it. And without a will, this entire process can sometimes take months. It can even take years. We've seen it. It's happened to us, where many of the businesses that we've set up, something happened to one of the shareholders. The entire business just stops because since the shareholders passed away, the signatory is no longer there. The signatory is no longer there. Bank transactions are no longer approved, and everything comes to a halt. Whether you're an independent entrepreneur or whether you're someone that has a large company with employees, you will be impacted, and so will your family. And over the course of the years that we've been doing this, we've sat across from various different families that have gone through exactly this. And the thing that stays with me every single time is that it was entirely preventable with a single document and at a relatively modest cost that takes only a fraction of your time. Now, there's also something that those of you tuning in today may not be aware of. Since January of this year, there's been a new regulation and legislation that's been put forward and that is now in effect, that in the event you do not have a will registered and you do not have any qualifying assets, qualifying years, then all of your assets can be subject to be absorbed by the state. So there are a lot of ramifications, and all of it can be avoided by a simple document. The UAE does not leave things unresolved. It does resolve them. It just not may necessarily be the way you would have chosen. If we can move on to the next slide, please. Now, the will is one aspect of things. There is another that I'll also be touching on today. What does actually having a plan in place look like? The two instruments is obviously, one is a will. It directs your assets. It names your beneficiaries, exactly how you want the distribution of your assets to happen. It appoints guardians for your children, anyone under 18. And critically, it tells the UAE courts exactly what you intended, so they're not left to guess and your family is not left to fight. This goes into effect fairly immediately if there is a document in place specifying your wishes. How it works in the UAE, unlike in many countries that many of you may be from, you do not need to have a master asset list that these are the different properties that I have, these are the different bank accounts I have. It can be a blanket coverage. You can specify that everything in my name, all the legal assets that I have, I want to go to ABCXYZ person, and that will be honored. And this applies to all current as well as future assets. This also applies to non-Muslims as well as Muslims alike. Without a will, like I said, Sharia succession law applies to your states. This is in effect regardless of your religion, regardless of your nationality. So the second instrument that we have is a foundation. Now, this is a tool that probably even fewer of you may be familiar with. To differentiate between a will, this is how I can explain it in simple terms. A will is a one-time handoff. You pass your assets to someone, and after that, what they do with those assets are something you won't have any control over. Because once you pass on something to someone else, you cannot say or you cannot dictate what they choose to do with it. A foundation, on the other hand, runs in perpetuity. You build a charter that governs it, you define the rules, you decide how the assets are held, managed, and distributed, not just to your children, but to their children as well. Essentially, you're not just passing wealth through a foundation, you're building a structure that outlives you and runs on your terms. So for those with diverse assets, having a foundation may be something that you may want to consider. Since if you have, it's not just a tool for estate planning, it also protects you from liability. And at the same time, and my colleague from ANA Tax and Consultancy, Sandeep, will be touching on the various different tax initiatives and that you should take. A foundation is one of them. By setting a foundation, there are various different tax benefits that you can also enjoy. Now, to sum it up, a will essentially says, here is what I am leaving you. A foundation says, this is how I want managed for as long as it lasts. So essentially, in practice, in theory, you can put that I want all my assets that are under my foundation to go to my children. And then should anything happen to them, I want it to go to my children's children. And I want it to continue that way until I have no heirs left, after which maybe I want it to all go to charity. All of these things and complexities can be handled through a foundation. If we can please move on to the next slide, please. So practically, when we're talking about implementation of these tools, there are two primary, when we're talking about implementation of these two primary tools, there are a few different jurisdictions wherein you can register them and the options that you have when you decide to go ahead with them. When we're talking about wills, there is the DIFC will. You can register it with the DIFC court. This is essentially regulated by the English common law. It allows you to cover your UAE-based as well as international assets that are also subject to the common law. This entire process is entirely in English, and it majority of the time is the fastest of the lot. It's also internationally recognized. Now, if we have a middle option, we have the Dubai courts. This is for the DIFC option is only for non-Muslims. That's the only catch. The Dubai courts option, on the other hand, it's for Muslims as well as non-Muslims. The entire process is in Arabic. So if you don't understand the language, it will be slightly difficult. It ensures that your assets are distributed exactly how you want. Now, the middle option, and the one that majority of our clients go for, it's the Abu Dhabi Judicial Department. It's a bilingual will. We'll draft it in English and then we'll legally translate it into Arabic. The entire process is fully online. There are no witnesses. It covers all of your current as well as future assets that can include property, bank accounts, your company shares. It is the most accessible option and, like I said, the most convenient as well. So if you are one of those viewers who is joining us from somewhere else, but you have assets in the UAE, given that this entire process is online, we can still initiate it for you to ensure that you're able to protect them. On the foundation side, we have two primary options. One is RAC ICC. This is where most business owners start. It's straightforward to establish, it's cost effective, it's built for cross-border asset protection, and it's one of the most premium jurisdiction globally that is currently available for setting up your foundation. The other, on the other hand, is DIFC, that is more appropriate for more complex multi-asset structures. Now, if we can move on to the final slide. So on my ending note, I wanted to keep this short and precise. I would urge and implore you all to have this conversation. Having a will or a foundation structure in the UAE, it allows you to protect everything you've built here so far. Your bank account, your property, your savings, your business shares. If you're married with children, your spouse and your children's guardians can also be a part of this structure to ensure your entire presence is fully protected. So we spend so much energy building things, our businesses, our homes, our savings, our reputations. The question is not whether you have built something that is worth protecting. You have. Everyone that is attending this webinar has. The question is, what have you done to protect it? So as Shubhang also touched on, AN Associate has been gracious enough to not just host this webinar, but to sponsor a complimentary 30-minute consultation for attendees. I would encourage every single one of you to take advantage of that. Speak to our team. Our advisors have been doing this for many, many years. They'll understand exactly what you have. They'll help you structure it. They'll give you the right solutions. This is not a conversation that we felt we needed to have, given everything that's happening around us. This is not about that, but at the same time, if anything, the current situation expedites the requirement and the responsibility that all of us have to protect our assets. I will leave with this, that the best time to put a plan in place was before you needed one, and the second best time is now. Thank you very much for your time and for attending and for joining this webinar.
Thank you, Sharjeel, for the very insightful session on wills and foundations. I believe all our attendees would have actually benefited from that insightful information. And we're looking forward, if you have any further questions, or if you would like to know more from Sharjeel and his team of experts who can guide you through in much more detail on how you can protect your assets and make sure that you're protecting what you've built during the course of time. Again, reassuring that we have a 30-minute free consultation that's available exclusively for the webinar attendees. So after we have the live Q&A session at the end, you can even register for the free consultations where you'll be taken through much more information about all these topics that's available. Now we'll move on to our final speaker, Mr. Sandeep Anand. He's the General Manager at ANA Tax Consultancy. He will be speaking on building financial stability, which is very vital at these uncertain times. And I'll hand over it to him so that he can take you through his session. Thank you.
Thank you, Akhil. Okay. So, good morning, everybody. I'm Sandeep, and I lead the tax and advisory wing at ANA. So we have a pretty good team comprised of chartered accountants and accounting professionals who help businesses, small, medium, and large, stay compliant and do the best bit of their accounting. Now, these are tough times, and we understand navigating this is not easy. We've heard about smarter marketing tactics and protecting what you build. These are very essential. Something that's also equally important is that financial stability. This is what keeps a lot of people awake at night. Now, we'll move to the next slide. Yeah. So as you can see, UAE as a country is not going into the situation with weak hands. We've had incredible numbers in terms of GDP growth. So they've actually risen spectacularly in 2025. Diversification also happened really well. So non-oil GDP is up 6.1%. But if you also look at it, most of the businesses in the UAE are made up of small businesses. So as the figure says, approximately 94% of the businesses in the UAE are small and medium enterprises. So this is an indication that the economy is actually building itself up. These small businesses then turn to become bigger enterprises and stuff. These are all very good signs. But when we went into the situation, it threw all of it aside, and people started worrying and worrying about this stability of the market, how they can survive through this. So today, what we'll be talking about is this is not going to be a very comprehensive guide on every single thing that you need to do to make sure that you're financially stable, but there are certain things that are applicable for almost all the companies out there. So those are the things that we will be touching upon. Specifics for your businesses will have to be discussed in detail, and there would have to be a very specific plan for your business as well, because we are dealing with different kinds of industries. Next slide. Okay, so let's get the fundamentals out of the way first. So this have always been something that every company has to take care of. So start with corporate tax. As you know, all companies, regardless of what they do, they need to register for corporate tax. VAT has been around since 2018. So by now, every company should have had it completely taken care of. But also, it's a good time to also review how you've been doing your VAT, because VAT also has a small impact on cash flows as well. So understanding the tax point, when will you be having to when you will be having to pay the VAT, you need to have enough cash ready. You also need to understand that invoicing also means that it will trigger the VAT tax payment. That means in this difficult times when companies fail to pay you, you will still be liable to pay VAT. It's surprising to know that a lot of companies don't get this right, even after so many years of VAT implementation. E-invoicing is another regulation that is just around the corner. So if you've not considered anything about implementing e-invoicing yet, I think it is a good time to also start. There is a small lull in the business. You can fix your processes, and e-invoicing is a mandate that needs to be applied as soon as possible, because you need to study what your company's existing processes are. How do they capture the taxation data and all of those things? And there are a lot of other parameters that also need to be captured for e-invoicing to work and for you to be compliant. Now, compliance generally is something that you have to totally, take care of, because during tough times, during times when it is even uh, 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 when you're in a growth phase too, if you do not maintain compliance, the consequence of it could hit you later. Especially if it hits at a time like these, then it is going to be devastating. So compliance is always something that you need to take care of. And one of the basic foundational compliance is basically having your accounting and bookkeeping. Accounting and bookkeeping, making sure you have proper books and records of every transaction is very key, because this gives the granularity for you to apply any proper taxation principles on it. Now, go to the next slide. Okay. Now, if I were to give you a single tool that would help you understand your position right now in terms of being able to pay your staff, being able to pay your suppliers, that would be the 13-week cash flow forecast. This is not a standard IFRS statement or forecast, but this is something that companies, CFOs especially, use during crisis periods. This is particularly important. The 13-week thing is it's long enough to capture your receivables or payable cycle, short enough to maintain accuracy, because you would have heard of other forecasting which goes way longer. Those are assumptions. You assume that things would happen that way at that time. But this is almost real time, but at the same time, it helps you make changes in decisions. So when you have decision paralysis, what to do? Would I be still having to source funds from elsewhere? Should I talk to my bank? This will give you the answer for that. So basically, what you do is, your fixed cost and everything will be put in one bucket. You would have your variable cost, which is something that you can adjust according to the current conditions. And then you are also having, similar predictable but large payments like tax payments. And these are very critical to measure on an ongoing basis, especially during these times. Now, the typical 13-week cash flow is a normal one that you make, expecting the receivables as you would normally expect any other time. But when it is a crisis scenario, of course, you actually dial down the expected revenue. Maybe you can do 10, 15%, and this will this will uh, this will actually help you understand if there is a situation where you need to kind of make decisions. There will be certain trigger points there that you can apply. So if it goes below a certain trigger, then you will have to basically make that very difficult decisions. And of course, similarly, you can also do a best case scenario. Best case scenarios where everything is, doing well and better and stuff like that. You can always try to understand what is the difference, the variance between these two. Now, ideally, you should have a cash runway of at least 8 weeks for you to pay your suppliers, have your payroll done, tax payments, and all of those things. So this is a default trigger that you can keep. Now, go to the next slide. So we spoke about measuring cash inflow and outflow and making decisions based on that. So what if you find that you're not having enough cash inflow coming in due to various factors? So probably there are certain big customers of yours. Um, you could potentially offer them a certain uh, discount, a 2% discount if they pay within a certain time frame, much ahead of their regular payment time frame. So a 2 by 10 net 30 is something that is widely used in the industry to ensure that cash is collected within time. And this helps you with long-term financing as well, because you don't have to reach out to finance and follow up for the payments or anything like that. So this will help you with keeping it healthy. You don't have to do it for every clients, or you don't have to do it in every scenario. But if you suspect that this could help, if you think that this would help with better cash flow, then definitely, by all means, this is the time to do it. Now, you could also negotiate very proactively with your suppliers in deferring payments, if that is possible, or with your clients as well. So maybe the clients are in a better position to do it again with a certain discount. You could actually have a annual payment for something done, or a 6-month payment for something done. And again, these are all based on relationships. In some cases, your services or your products will be key for your clients, and they will be happy to support you during those times. So you would only get it if you ask for it. Now, the other thing that is also very crucial is you need to your bankers would be your best friends, so they should be able to help you when the time comes. But you should need to have the conversation beforehand. Nobody's going to lend something to somebody on a Titanic when they are certain that it's going to sink. So banks are wary about that situation. So ideally, before things get out of hand, you need to speak to your bank, have everything ready. And how would you get to know that? Is basically with your 13-week cash flow. This is a rolling cash flow, so you always constantly adjust it. On top of that, Dubai, you must have heard, is also has a stimulus program for 90-day payment deferrals. So certain government organizations, etc., they would offer you this. But ideally, you need to reach out to them. It could be any of the authorities that you're dealing with, if they can help you with deferred payment and stuff. Now, let's go to the next one. We'll talk about technology that you could use, and that in a way would help you understand things better. So if you're a small company, a micro company, you still need to use an accounting software to manage your accounting and bookkeeping. Uh, One of the two most popular accounting software in the UAE, they are Zoho Books and Wafik. They're pretty modern software, cloud-based software, and they are e-invoicing ready as well. Zoho Books is in the process of getting certified on that, and Wafik is already e-invoicing ready. So you will, if you have not implemented an accounting software and starting to do everything on Excel, then I think this is something that you can do. Now, if you think that there is a certain situation where you need to have a deep dive into your transactions or cash flow and stuff like that, that is where you could use some of the AI planning and forecasting tools. So you could, basically have conversations with AI, provided a scenario of your business, and it will be able to give you ideas. Now, these ideas are something that you build the actual actions on. So it will be like having a partner who would, more or less understand the general aspect of business in the region, and potentially give you ideas on what you could potentially implement. Now, let's go to the next slide. Now, as when you look deeper into accounting and reporting, so you need to look at these KPIs. So basically, cash runway, days sales outstanding, your current ratio, and compliance calendar. So cash runway, like I said, is something that will ensure that you never get rid of cash, never run short of cash. So you need to always measure these. Base sales outstanding is something you could measure to see that if there is any problems with increased base sales outstanding, then that would usually signal a problem. So you need to always look back at your receivables and see how you can, and then you can use the strategy where you can offer discounts and stuff like that. So current ratio is a widely used ratio in financial analysis, and if it is below 1.2, then you're in a danger zone and you have to make quick actions. Now, compliance calendar, because UAE has a lot of compliance related regulations. It could be VAT, corporate tax, it could be payroll, WPS, visa renewals need to be done. It could be anything relating to AML. So you need to have all of these mentioned therein. So this will help you understand these things better. Now, as a next step, I think we'll create an action plan which could be a 90-day action plan. These are basically the same set of things that I've spoken to you about, but can we go to the next slide? Yep. So review your cash with whoever handles your accounts. Understand it thoroughly to make very informed decisions. So you could sit with your accountant. If you do not have your own accountant, you could reach out to a firm, an accounting firm, just like us or ourselves, and we'll help you understand your position in terms of that, how to measure your cash inflow and outflow. You could review your accounting practices. So you might have a feeling or a kind of deep-seated assumption that okay, everything is going well. You have not been hit with any notices from the FTA, but it is important that you review it, your VAT, corporate tax, and audit readiness at every time, because when the FTA requests for details, then you need to be ready with the documents within 5 days. Now, e-invoicing readiness, like I spoke about, review your fairness for e-invoicing, and then sign up with an ASP. ASP is an accredited service provider. Those are the companies who provide the interface with the government and the FTA portal. And obviously, look for government or bank support if and when required, but talk about it with your bank or the authorities much ahead of time, not when a danger is very close. Now, these are difficult positions that companies are put in right now. But one thing to understand is every company is also being put in the same position. And negotiating some sort of agreement will become far easier in this scenario. But equally, it will be difficult in some instances as well. We need to fix the practices that we are doing right now. We need to make sure that it is very resilient for any further shocks, and businesses which come out stronger will be the ones that will flourish through the next periods of growth. So I think I've touched upon a few points, and I think those would be helpful. If you need any support in terms of reviewing your books, seeing your position in terms of cash flow or tax or VAT, we'll be happy to help you.
Thank you, Sandeep, for the very insightful session on how we can protect our financial stability during these uncertain times. Now, I would like to again iterate that we have the 30-minute free consultations that ANA is offering with these experts, the experts they've spoken to you right now. You can schedule 30-minute free consultations where you get to know much more detailed in-person information on how each of their services can support or help your business. So please scan the QR code and you can schedule the free consultations now itself. Now we'll move on to the live Q&A session. So we've had a lot of questions that's come out on the Q&A and the chat boxes from multiple professionals who've had the questions while we're having the session. So because of the time limitations, we're not going to go through all of the questions, but we've picked out certain questions that they would be answering right now. First, I'll I'll go to Shubhang. So since Shubhang had the first session, so for marketing, Shubhang, I'm posing the question to you. Um, can they run through quickly without details of any past campaign which failed client expectations big time? And how did team pivot for recalibrate the strategy and achieve the desired numbers? Would you like me
Okay.
to?
No, I can see the question. Thank you, Akhil. And again, thank you, Sharjeel and Sandeep. Few things were eye-opening for me myself. So after this session, I'm going to have a look at certain aspects of my own company. Coming to the question, yes, there are a lot of times where we deal with clients now without going into specifics of which client or not. Sometimes it's very important to understand what your objective is. Marketing broadly can be classified into certain things which are run for your branding and certain things which are run for your lead generation and generating sales. Very often clients get that wrong. We've done a lot of campaigns in the past where uh, we have run a campaign which is primarily focused for awareness, and clients have expected leads to come out of that, and vice versa. We've run campaigns that are very lead generation specific, but people expect awareness and engagement on it. So at the beginning of any campaign, it is very important to understand that why am I doing this campaign. Sometimes we have a great idea and then we go like, okay, why did I do this campaign in the first place? So bifurcate it very clearly. Understand that there are certain campaigns or there are certain marketing activities that will get you reach, engagement, awareness. A lot of people will talk about it, but not necessarily translate to sales. uh, why? Because both of these things work in tandem with each other. So you need to consistently run your awareness campaign that feeds campaigns that bring you leads in business. So don't confuse the two. The second mistake that we often see people making is you need to understand that the marketing is a 360-degree thing. There are a lot of channels that you can use. Some people just want to stick to digital marketing. Some people only want to do, let's say, a newspaper or a magazine advertisement. Now let's say hypothetically, we had a client who ran an ad on a magazine or a newspaper advertisement. Only the ad on the newspaper went live that day, but on their socials the same content wasn't there. On their website there was no mention of the campaign. So there's a disconnect. A client is seeing something on your digital channels or is seeing something in the newspaper, but when they're going to your other channels they're not seeing anything. You have to understand that there is a customer journey that happens through marketing. Let's say if you get a client through Google AdWords or you get a client through your website inquiry, it's not necessary that the client discovered you on your website or on Google. It is possible that the client heard you on radio. It is possible that the client saw your advertisement in a newspaper or a magazine. So there's a journey that needs to be followed, and you must understand that you need to look at marketing from a holistic perspective and not just one place. So let's say if you're doing a WhatsApp campaign, make sure your social media also has content similar to that. Make sure your influencers are saying the same thing. Make sure on the website there's something which is similar. So yes, what we did in the past, we've run campaigns which have not brought desired results because we haven't covered the other aspects. So what we did is we ran it again, but made sure that there's consistency across all channels, and then we got the desired results. So two things to conclude. One is be very honest with yourself. Why are you doing this campaign? Is it awareness? Is it brand building? Is it lead generation? And stick to that. And the second thing is, whenever you do campaign, there needs to be consistency in communication through all channels. Your website shouldn't be saying one thing and your social saying the other, and your radio campaign is saying something else. That always confuses the client. Sometimes the clients don't even know whether it's the same client advertising or not. So manage your expectations, but spread out your marketing campaign consistency as much as you can. Thank you, Akil.
Thank you, Shubhang. I just have one more question from the lot. So it's, what marketing channels or tools should I be using right now that are not expensive?
My favorite question. Uh, See, there are a lot of initiatives that you can take. So, in when I showed you paid, earned, and owned media, right? So there are a lot of channels that there are a lot of things you could be doing right now, which will kind of give you an edge over your competitors. First of all, SEO. SEO is a very underrated tool. It doesn't cost as such. You just need a person who knows what they're doing to manage your SEO. You need to understand that every month you need to be getting a certain number of inquiries through organic channels. Your website should be your silent cheerleader. Your social media should be discoverable. So a lot of people don't do SEO properly. SEO is not very expensive, and from my personal experience dealing with clients, there are certain clients who, on a monthly basis, if paid channels get them, let's say, 1,000 leads, SEO contributes to at least 40 to 50% of that if you're discoverable. uh, WhatsApp marketing and email marketing. So email marketing, you can use tools like Zoho Campaigns, you can use MailChimp. There are a lot of tools that you can do email marketing with. It's the cheapest. Actually, you'll just have to pay a subscription cost. So email marketing is cheapest. But right now, what's happening is with emails being more smart in detection of, like, mass emailers. So on Google, everything goes to other folder or promotions folder. So email marketing, we are seeing, is slightly more difficult to get a response from. WhatsApp campaigns, absolutely cost effective, and you get to speak straight to the customer. So WhatsApp campaigns, what you essentially need to do is, there are tools in the market that are available. We ourselves do that as well for our clients. It links with your Meta, and you can reach out to your customers from a verified thing. I'm sure on a day-to-day basis, everybody on this call must be getting a few WhatsApp messages, promotional messages on a daily basis. SMS campaign is also underrated. If you use SMS campaigns properly, you can utilize that also. Just make sure your hook or your main message is very catchy, otherwise you will lose them. So yes, these are the cheapest I can think of. Obviously, maintain your social media, keep updating your website, but these are the most cost effective marketing campaigns that we're running for our clients right now, which is delivering great results. As you saw for the Arabian automobiles, the campaigns that they're running is getting them great responses, and I'm very sure it costs them a fraction of what their regular marketing channels cost. So focus on these. If you do book in a consultation session, we will tell you what the cost of these tools and how much it costs to reach how many people. But it's very cost effective. It's very low cost, so you could capitalize on that for now. Thank you, Akhil.
Thank you, Shubhang. Thank you for answering the questions. Now I'll move on to the questions for Sandeep. Um, so Sandeep, the first question that's been asked, what we've picked out is, what is the pricing for bookkeeping for small firms? Do you have any tailor-made products to choose from?
All right. Um, I hope you can hear me better this time around.
Yes, yes.
Um, yeah, because we had a small feedback saying that wasn't loud enough. Sorry about that. Okay, now as far as pricing for accounting, pricing for small firms are concerned, there are basic packages that are available. The basic packages of bookkeeping and a frequency that is, whatever the frequency that customer wants. If the customer wants to have it on a monthly or a quarterly basis, we can do it that way. But if they anticipate only very, a small number of transactions, we would automatically suggest them go with something like a quarterly or a half yearly frequency, where you would have reports at the end of those period. Now, as far as the pricing for it is concerned, it is going to be very competitive. We have an infrastructure that needs to be supported for us to deliver good work. So, like I said, we are one of those firms in the UAE that is staffed by fully qualified people. They truly understand the numbers. They truly understand IFRS reporting standards. They understand the VAT, corporate tax implications and stuff. So it is never somebody who is not being completely acquainted with the taxation and reporting systems in the UAE. That said, we also have an extensive team who would also review work done by the others. This is a standard process in larger accounting firms and also boutique accounting firms. So the reliance is not just placed on one person, but two people to ensure that everything is done right and up to date. That there is a base price for it. I can discuss the price with you privately because it is the base price. If I just let it out right now, that would become the starting price for every potential client. So it is upon our judgment how small the client is. But we'll definitely be happy to support any small business with the best offer. We'll keep our standards the same, that I assure you. And we can take it from there. Now, in terms of the other question that you asked about, what are the signals that should be looking for? Basically, it's your cash position right now itself. If you're seeing upcoming receivables are not coming in as expected, then you have to probably speak with your suppliers, renegotiate, and extend. So whatever cash you have in hand, you should try to protect it as much as possible. So there is a time and a period where you actually make that decision, and that is based on the triggers on your cash flow forecast. So that is one of the biggest signal here, because all the other parameters that we have are very variable. It depends on your other companies. It is not standard situation right now. In a standard situation, there is a lot of things that you can do. But in a situation like this, cash is the king. And cash is always a king, by the way. But in this particular situation, you look at one metric that will help you survive is cash. So if you're particularly, have established the company in the last few years, and these were your particular growth phase, you would have to trim down certain aspect of that growth, and you will have to focus more on resilience and surviving through the period. But at the same time, if some spends equate to more revenue, like what Shubhang said, marketing, then by all means do that. So signals, there could be many signals. The idea is to get that one single signal that will help your business survive is the signal of cash in cash flows.
Thank you, Sandeep. Thank you, Sandeep, for the answer. Now, moving on to the wills and foundations question. It looks very interesting, where there's a lot of question answers about wills and foundations, what we can do. So, Sharjeel, I have picked out two questions for you. One is, do I need to have both will and foundation, or one is better?
So this is a question that we get asked fairly common. They're not competing products. They're different tools for different planning stages. A will is something that almost everyone needs. A foundation is a layer on top of that. So if you're looking to cover your assets immediately, a will would be the perfect tool to do it. However, if you're looking for protection, if you're looking for continuity, if you're looking for perpetuity, then a foundation would be a more stronger option. They usually work hand in hand. It's not that is one better than the other. they're different tools for different priorities and different objectives. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, perfect. Okay. So so this is the last question of the Q&A session. Um, my business is not yet protected, not yet started. Sorry. Should I draft the will now, or how my business can be protected later?
That's a great question. So as I had mentioned during my presentation, the great thing about the UAE will is, is specifically two things. One is that it's a blanket coverage. So you can say all my bank accounts, all my properties, all my all the companies that I have shares in, for instance, all the other assets that I have. And they cover assets that you buy in the future as well. So it doesn't matter if you don't have a business right now. If you holistically cover everything in the will, then this also covers a business you start next month. It covers a bank account you'll open 3 years later. It covers any additional any property you may buy 5-10 years later. This is not an annual renewable document. This is a one-time draft, and it ensures immediate protection for all current as well as future assets. And at the same time, the only time that you'll actually need to amend your will is not when you've bought new assets or when you've changed it. It's in the event that something happens to one of the beneficiaries that you've specified in your will before you. So that kind of defeats the purpose of the will. Only then will you need to amend it. Apart from that, this is a document that will protect you. So I would advise it's done immediately, as it covers the future as well.
Thank you, Sharjeel, for the answering the questions. So we would like to, so this here we come to the end of the session. So this is where hopefully we've passed on all the insightful information, the education, and all the tools that necessary that you look forward on each of these verticals of business. So again, I would like to reiterate, if the attendees would like to get more information, get a more personalized advice, you can always opt for the 30-minute free consultation that we are offering, where you get to speak to these experts directly, pose your questions, and avail the services. As a thank you note, I would like to thank every attendee who's joined in the session, who's given the right questions, who's provided the insights and everything that's needed. I would also like to thank Shubhang Bhattacharya from Mosaic Digital, Sharji Akhtar from Momentum, and Sandeep Anand from ANA Tax Consultants for joining in the session, providing the right insights, and also answering the questions with the right information for all our attendees. Thank you everyone for joining in. We look forward to having much more eventful webinars in the future. Looking forward for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Akil. Thank you, everyone.